We want to end with some final thoughts from some of our core organisers, but first, some final logistics. Presentations will be uploaded to YouTube in the coming weeks and months, pending permission from the presenters, and we strongly encourage you all to keep in touch. The conference platform and app will remain live for at least 30 days, so feel free to create meetups based on your interests and passions. We will be sending a follow-up email to all attendees and presenters once we wrap up today, with more details about how you can stay connected and where you can find presentations once they're uploaded.
On behalf of TPATH, our Global Trans-led Steering Committee, our co-chairs, and our sponsors, we want to thank you all for your presence and participation in this conference. And we want to give a special shout out and thanks to our volunteers who have given hundreds of hours of their labor behind the scenes to make sure everything runs smoothly. It's a momentous occasion to be able to celebrate our inaugural conference, where we just spent 3 full days discussing our theme, Converging Crises, Transgender Health Rights and Activism in 2021. It was no small feat bringing together over 100 trans professionals, researchers, activists, and advocates to speak during this event, alongside hundreds more attendees. It was necessary to navigate complex time zones, Zoom sessions, and an absolutely packed schedule. We had presenters from over a dozen countries, including France, Belgium, New Zealand, Argentina, Mexico, Russia, Sweden, Kazakhstan, Uganda, Thailand, Japan, and India, in addition to the UK, the USA, and Canada. As we wrap up the conference, we want to offer some final reflections as part of our closing remarks.
This conference sought to challenge several power dynamics that are at play within knowledge production around trans issues. One of them is the prevalence of cisgender researchers in this field. While cisgender researchers may serve as much needed allies, there exists a pressing need for us as trans people to not only participate in research, but to take on leadership roles, both within existing organizations like the World Professional Association for Transgender Health and in our own spheres. We hope that the presentations you've witnessed during the conference have proven just how crucial it is for trans researchers, professionals, activists, and advocates to be centrally involved in any initiative that impacts trans lives.
Another dynamic we wish to challenge was geographical. On the one hand, we aimed to counter the dominant geopolitics of knowledge, by which studies about trans people often center research produced in the global north and primarily published in English. Although most of this conference's presentations proceeded from English-speaking countries, we have also showcased some of the important research being carried out in the global south and outside the Anglosphere. Moving forward, it is a core goal of ours to contribute to strengthening North-South and South-South dialogues and collaborations. To achieve this goal, we considered it vital to provide three-way language interpretation. We didn't only want to make the English presentations accessible to individuals outside the Anglosphere. We also wanted to provide English speakers with the opportunity to listen to the theoretical and practical debates that are occurring outside of their usual spheres of influence. A big thanks here goes to our Uruguayan translation team, who in their humbleness declined to be named directly. Simply let it be known that this undertaking would have been impossible or at least markedly poorer without you.
On the other hand, we also aspired to question the colonial narratives that trans politics, or the quality of trans lives, are more advanced in the global north. As we have been reminded throughout the conference, reality is always more nuanced than such binary dichotomies and divisions. Some countries from the global south are at the forefront of trans organizing globally, and those in the north could do much to learn from their organizational and legislative efforts. Whatever the case, it is crucial to be attentive to cultural context and specificity, recognizing both the plurality, but also the potentially foreclosing nature of trans as a globalized term.
Finally, we wish to highlight the importance and the validity of knowledge produced in different contexts, both within academia, but also in other professional, clinical, and activist settings, where trans individuals are pioneering insightful and innovative practices that can improve trans lives. We know that academic research has just as much power to harm trans communities as it does to help us. While conferences like this one often center and highlight academic and clinical research, we made it a priority to demonstrate the value and utility of this work conducted in every context. While we know that there are many things we can improve upon, we hope that you have found this conference an edifying or perhaps even empowering experience.
Throughout this conference, we heard about cutting-edge participatory research on clinical, somatic, and mental health practice within diverse trans communities, the myriad ways that trans communities resist institutional violence, and everything in between. We also strategized how to combat ongoing trans antagonism from multiple directions, and what can be done to protect ourselves and our communities. And through all of this, we modeled together how to center lived experience in research with trans communities, what trans leadership can look like, and how to build spaces to come together, even for just 3 days, to build and strengthen our ongoing movements. And for us as organizers, we quickly learned how not to let perfect be enemy of the good.
We hope to come back next time with an even bolder vision, greater and more global participation, and more resources to make the conference even more accessible, and perhaps even in person. We thank you again for your attendance, your participation, and for sharing our commitment to global trans communities and our needs.
Muchas gracias por venir, por participar y por compartir nuestro compromiso con las comunidades trans globales y con nuestras necesidades.
Nous vous remercions pour votre présence, votre participation et pour partager notre engagement envers des communautés trans mondiales et nos besoins.